This lesson is all about paper collage. I will be showing paper collage by making a cherry pie. Here's a sneak peek at some of the materials we will be using. To start out with, I'm going to think about the base that my pie will be sitting on. In this case, I'm creating kind of a tablecloth. So I'm drawing vertical and horizontal lines with water-based markers. Then I'm taking water and just wiping the water on the top of each of those lines. I will set that aside and get started on the pie filling. In this case, I'm going to make it a cherry pie, but you could think of other fillings to put into your pie. I'll be using a masking tape roll for a lot of the tracing when I'm making my circles. Now that I have my circle, I'm going to start making the cherries inside that circle. All I did was create circles with oil pastel. Now I'm taking a paper towel and smearing each of these circles to make them look more like a cherry. Now I'll go ahead and cut this circle out. Now I'm going to make the crust on the top. So I need that square, I'm going to make a square to begin with, to be larger than the circle that I just cut out. So I'm placing that down in the corner so that I'm able to measure it out. Then I'm going to make a square. For my top crust, I'm going to make a lattice pattern. That looks like a weaving. In fact, that's what I'm going to be doing. I will measure out 1/2 inch in my case. I'm going to help myself out by drawing those lines so that I know exactly where to cut. When I'm cutting, I'm not cutting all the way through. I will be cutting until that first line. So I want them to all stay connected. Now I'm going to mark every other line, and I'm actually going to be cutting this out. This is going to help me know which ones to cut and which ones to save. Then I'm going to start weaving these together. Now I'm going to start weaving. I need to figure out where I'm going to place my lines so that I leave nice little square spaces so we can see the cherries. So I measured 1/2 inch before. Here I'm going to mark every 1 inch. I'm going to use my glue to kind of assist me on this to hold these in place and then weave these lines. This is just the method I used. You could probably achieve this look in different ways. I'd love to see you experiment. Now I'm going to add some glue and place this right on top of my cherries. Using the rest of my brown paper and my tracer again, I'm going to make the bottom crust. I decided to give my crust a little bit of pizzazz on the side, so I added this wavy line all the way around my circle. Now, I'll flip it over so I don't have any of those lines that I can see anymore, and I'm going to change this color just a little bit so that it stands out when I glue it all together. I'm using a black oil pastel for this. Now let's put all 3 parts together to create my final pie. Now I want to make a slice out of my pie, so I'm going to use my pencil to find the center and then my ruler to make 2 straight lines and cut this portion of the pie out. That slice of pie needs a plate to go on. I will be using scrapbook paper or paper that already has design on it to create my plate. I'm using both the inside and the outside of my tracer for this one. This is going to allow me to use some oil pastel on that inner circle and create a more realistic looking plate. Now I'll use my glue again and glue this piece of pie onto my plate. Once I put these 2 items on my background, I realized I was missing something. The pan for my pie. When I took that slice out, it left an open space and we actually need to see some kind of pan underneath. I'll use my paper collage skills to fix that minor problem. Down here on my base, I'm going to do as I did before with the crust. I'll be using some oil pastel and my blending skills to create shadow for my pie and plate. Now for the final step. I'll add some glue and use some patience, holding it down nice and tight to add this onto the background. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love how this turned out. Art to Remember has so many free lessons for you to use. Go to their webpage or their YouTube channel to find more lessons.